So you've got a list of however many wonderful attributes of a great workplace coach. This is what I'm going to ask you to do. Turn over the page from English is Rubbish, would you? Can you see it says 6 and 3? Have you got that? What I'm going to ask you to do is to look at your list and then take the opportunity of walking around the room carefully, please. There are health and safety issues to consider. And have a look at other people's flip charts. And what I'm going to ask you to do in your workbook is to make a note on that page where it says 6 and 3 of 6 coaching attributes that are listed here that you can think, you know what? Choose somebody I haven't spoken to yet. Oliver, hand on heart. Oh, I hit that microphone quite hard there, didn't I? Hand on heart. 6 of these are things I am really, really good at in my role as a workplace coach. 6 of them. And when you've got your 6, Oliver, 3 of these attributes of a workplace coach that you can say, if I'm honest with myself, really, that's something I could develop. That's something I could be better at. Happy with that? Now, the good news, Oliver, it's not just you doing it. It's everybody in the room. So take a bit of time, wander around. 6 and 3, it should take you about 5 minutes to do it. Off you go, have some fun, stretch your legs, get a bit of blood in your legs, and we'll get back together again in a few minutes. In a moment, there's opportunity for you to fill up the cups with water and get some on board, right? Make sure you stay hydrated. Soul. Let's have a look at what we've got. We've got a list of 6 things which you think, you know what? In my role as a workplace coach, I'm really good at that. And there's a few things there that you think, I wouldn't mind working on that. I wouldn't mind developing those skills there. Now, what you've just done is, broadly speaking, at a very high level, essentially that's what Continue and Begin is. We help a coachee to identify a big old list of things that they've done well in a particular circumstance, excuse me, and just a few things that they might want to begin to do a little bit differently and perhaps even better. Now, if you think back to earlier, we were talking, and particularly today, we're talking about behaviours. So we're looking at a series of behaviours which that individual can rightly celebrate. And do you remember the explicit standards? We've got them described here. So which of these behaviours did that employee, that member of staff, that team member, which of those things did he or she do really, really well and they can rightfully feel proud of? And what we do is we help them to celebrate it. So remember all those years ago in room C46A, that manager's not leaving the room until we've had mandatory self-celebration. They're not leaving until we've identified a big list of things that they did well. And in the circumstance today, we're talking about in relation to behaviours, communication patterns with customers. And then, but only then, can we ask them to celebrate that and start thinking, once the self-esteem, the self-image, the self-worth, the ego, if you want to use that word, once those things are in place, they're feeling resourceful. Now we can start thinking about doing a couple of things, maybe 3, but never more than that, just a couple of things a little bit differently that would make them even more professional, even more elegant in the way that they communicate with customers. But it's that way around, not the other way around. Now, I asked you to conduct an activity that was 6 and 3. Now the 6 and 3, what's the ratio? Right. Don't get hung up on 2 to 1. What I would say to you is this. As long as we make it more continue twos than begin twos, that's fine. If you can get to twice as many, that's amazing. What's going to happen the more continue twos you help that person to identify? They're going to feel more positive about themselves. They're going to feel more empowered. They're going to feel more resourceful. They're going to feel in a much more dynamic place to address those things that they'd like to develop. Now, it may be in a case of where you've got a richness of material. Video mystery shopping, I know you use that, is a fabulous resource. And you get the opportunity to review it, don't you, in advance of a discussion with one of your team members. And you can look at it and watch it. You can do it time and time and time again in readiness for a conversation with that team member. Now, it may be in such circumstances that you really can get 6 things, or you can encourage the individual to identify 6 things that they've done well and they can celebrate. It's not always quite as rich as that. In terms of, can you remember the other two channels? We talked about recorded behavior as one platform or one channel. The other ones were observed and reflective. In reflective, let's have a chat about how you've been getting on, Nathan, recently with whatever the issue may be. Chances are you're going to get something like a 4 and 2. You may not have the amount of material to work on to generate 6 continue 2s or 3 begin 2s. So it may be a 4 and 2. In observed behavior, continue and begin fast coaching, new code, it's really fast. It's in the moment. Do you remember, Gary? In the moment. Chances are it may be something like a 2 and 1. Very quick. 2 things you did there with that customer in relation to behaviors that were really good. Come on, what do you think you did? We can tease those out, and with 2 in place, maybe we might get 3. But it's just happened. It was a really short discussion on the telephone, maybe. Maybe we're only going to get 1 begin 2. Now, my guidance to you, ladies and gentlemen, as soon-to-be new code continue and begin practitioners, 3 is the absolute maximum. I'd much prefer if you worked with 2, but 2, piddly ones. Oh, my name badge wasn't on right, which showed disrespect to the customer, and my hair. No! Something beefy. Attentive listening. Asking questions of the customer, smiling, raising the eyebrows. These kind of things.